Excellent!
Hey everyone, welcome back to Paul's Hardware. Thanks for tuning in today. I have a review for you guys. This is my new monitor. This is the Yamakasi Leonidas 2560 by 1600 monitor, all the way from Korea. I've had it for about a week now, so I'm going to be doing an unboxing as well as a review. If you're wondering how I'm going to be doing an unboxing, I'm going to do it by traveling back in time. Actually, I'm just going to reference the video I shot last week when I unboxed it. So to start off, here's a look at the retail box in the condition that it arrived to me in. And as you can see, it's packed very, very well. They've done actual bubble wrap over the entire outside of the retail box, and I'm going to give it a quick size comparison here with Nori. She's not really into it. Okay, maybe we'll try again later. But as you can see, totally fine as far as the shipping. It arrived to me in about like 4 days, I think, after I placed the order, and that was during Korean New Year, which was pretty impressive. As you can see, just a little bit of scuffing on the side, but again, with that bubble wrap, the box itself was almost perfect. There was one little ding in it that I think you'll see here in a second. Hey, there it is right there. Little ding in the box. Again, nothing to worry about. The monitor itself is totally fine. So as far as shipping goes, totally perfect. Also, as far as duties or imports or anything like that, I'm in the US in California, and I had to pay nothing extra. But anyway, there's the box itself. Bubble wrap off, as you can see. Yamakasi 300 Leonidas. It's actually pretty hilarious, the amount of copyright infringement going on here with the 300 theme. I'm sure if they actually imported it, they might actually have to change the name of the monitor maybe, or at least the box. I have no idea. Anyway, here's just some looks at the outside of the box. This is made by WeTech or YTech. Here's another dog size comparison. See? Hi, Nori. Anyway, here's the box being opened, of course. Inside we have a baggie with all the accessories. We also have the monitor itself. Really nice closed cell foam packaging. Another extra piece below there to protect the screen just in case anything did punch through. As you can see, it's really well protected, so I wasn't really concerned at all as far as the monitor. Here's a look at the inner packaging, of course. And that's pretty much it. It was in beautiful condition. I did pay for the pixel perfect version, so there was no dead pixels, I should also mention. Here's the accessories. It comes with a dual link DVI cable, and bear in mind you need dual link DVI in order to use this monitor. You also get the AC adapter, and it's got kind of some funny wording on there, which I thought was pretty cute. But pretty standard power brick. There were some complaints about this getting too warm. In my experience, it hasn't. I mean, it does get warm, but nothing more than any other power brick I've seen. As you can see, standard AC adapter type cable, 110 volt is acceptable. So this is the cable that it comes with, which I think is Korean or I honestly have no idea what kind of plug that is. I'm sorry. But you don't need to use that. It comes with an AC adapter if you're in the US to go with the US standard size plug that you can pop on, but I just used an existing computer cable I had, and that works just fine. Here's the user's manual. It's all in Korean. They'll send you an English version if you really want an English version via PDF in the mail. And then here's an extra English bit that was thrown in. I believe this was actually thrown in by the eBay shipper, Greensum, that I got from. But as you can see, some troubleshooting as well as installing the power cable and whatnot. So you should pretty much be able to get set up and good to go without any difficulties. So here's a look at the monitor itself, and as you can see, well, it's pretty nice. And I wanted to point out a couple different things. Specifically, one of the things I wanted to point out is why I decided to get this monitor. Basically, right now, if you want a 2560 by 1600 monitor, your options are to pay a little over $1,000 for one of the ones that's currently available retail in the US, and there's quite a few options out there, and they're very nice. As you would expect if you're paying $1,000 for a monitor, they're nice. I've tried several of those, but I wanted 2560 by 1600, and there's also the Yamakasi Cat Leap that's very popular out there, and that's 2560 by 1440. I wanted the higher resolution because I've been using that when I've been running benchmarks, and I've really kind of fallen in love with that resolution. It just looks so nice. I miss the vertical space. Sorry, I'm just turning this around. I miss the vertical space when it's not there anymore. And I wanted something that I could use at home, especially since I've been doing more benchmarking and stuff at home. So Looking online, there's a Yamakasi Sparta you might see that's available, and you can actually get that for about $500 to $600 depending on where you look. I didn't go with the Sparta for a couple reasons. One is that the Sparta has a different housing than this, and if you can see here, this has a really nice all metal brush metal housing. It's kind of gray on the back. If you guys can see from the side here, that's about the width of it. I also wanted a slightly better stand, and this does have definitely a much better stand than the Cat Leap or the Sparta. As you can see, it's got height, tilt, and swivel, so you can swivel the monitor. The stand is actually a little bit on the flimsy side for my taste, but I mean, it's hard to complain, I guess, too much, because honestly, once I get a monitor set up where I want it to go, that's usually about the last time I move it, unless I do a video on it like this one. But it comes with a little pin in the bottom, which I've totally misplaced. There's a little pin here on the bottom, it just screws in right down here when it's in its lowest position, so you can lock it in place there. Other than that, once you remove that, you pretty much have free range to do the height. That's about as high as it goes. It's about as low as it goes. Other than that, the stand is pretty basic. It is black. It's got a bit of gloss on the bottom that's already started to get a little scuffed up, as glossy monitor stands tend to do. But the other thing I like about this monitor so far is the temperature, actually, because I do have a 2560 by 1600 at work. That's an HP ZR30W, I believe. And one thing I've noticed is with the backlight, it gets really warm and it starts to just put off all this heat. This monitor does get warm, but I don't know whether it's the metal housing or just the components inside, maybe a little bit newer, maybe a little bit more efficient. No idea, but barely any heat coming off of the back of this. You can tell if you put your hand right up there, but with the HP, sometimes when I'm sitting in front of it, I actually notice. But this one, it's been totally fine. The tilt, as you can see, it tilts back pretty far. Not bad at all, if that's your thing. And then here, as you can see, we have our controls. Controls are pretty basic. You get power, and then there's a plus and minus, and I have practically no idea what the plus and minus do. Alright guys, here's another shot with the monitor actually on. This is just running the Unigine Valley benchmark. And I know this is really subjective because you are watching this on your monitor and you can't necessarily see the quality of this monitor. But I can tell you, this is, it looks beautiful. Oh, I can also hear it. Oh, that's because I have headphones plugged in. I forgot I had headphones plugged in, and I hadn't been listening to the audio on this benchmark yet. But I got the Pixel Perfect version, so that is one issue if you are looking on the eBay sales for this particular monitor. Actually, most of the monitors, they have a policy for the center. You can have one dead pixel and then up to 4 more in the areas around the outer edges. And pretty much, I didn't want to have that 1 or 2 or 3 dead pixels that I could do nothing about. I really wanted it to be a perfect panel, so I paid about an extra $80 or $100 for the perfect pixel version. So this ended up being about $750. For $650, you can get this not pixel perfect if you're willing to take a little bit of a risk. And I read a lot of people get them, and they're just fine. They're just as fine as the pixel perfect versions. And then, as I was mentioning earlier, you also have the Sparta option. Sparta has a tempered glass panel on the front, so it's actually a glossy screen. I absolutely despise glossy screens, so I wanted this one to be the nice matte finish that you can probably see that it is. And yeah, that pretty much does it. So the reason I went with this, even though it's like a good $200 or $300 more than I could have gotten the Sparta for, which is the same 2560 by 1600 and essentially the same panel behind it, was I wanted this housing, I wanted the matte finish, I wanted pixel perfect, and the last thing is I wanted to have the input on the back that this one has, which is just a single dual link DVI. So I'm going to go into that next. So here, as you can see, is our single DVI input. Also over there on the side you can see the special little AC power adapter input. Now the reason that I wanted this, actually like this with a single DVI input, is input lag, because when you have multiple inputs there's an extra little board in there that can lead to input lag depending on the type of monitor you're using, of course. So there is the DVI input, but one of the big warnings that you'll see if you're looking at this monitor online, this one is opposed to the Sparta because the Sparta has multiple inputs, is that if you're using the dual link DVI, you have to have a dual link DVI connection. So they have video cards that they're listing off. You basically need a dual link DVI, 2560 by 1600 resolution capable. But what if you have a monitor that has, or what if you have a video card or a video source that has other outputs. So I wanted to do a quick test here. I brought along some adapters. So this is a Displayport to dual link DVI, and this is an active adapter, so I'll be testing this one out. I also have an HDMI to dual link DVI. I believe it's dual link. It's got all the pins in there, although HDMI, technically, unless you have the really newest HDMI spec, can't do this resolution. And then finally, I have standard size DisplayPort to dual link DVI, and this is actually kind of a really chintzy little adapter that I'm not even sure if it works, but I'm just going to try it out because this is a passive adapter as opposed to this one, which is active. So let's see if any of these will give me a signal on this monitor. That's a negative. Negative, Ghost Rider. Okay, test number 1 with our DisplayPort to DVI passive adapter was an utter failure. This is test number 2. We're going with the HDMI to DVI adapter. I've also switched over video cards. The first test I was running with an Aries 2, which has a native full-size DisplayPort. This is HIS Radeon HD 7970 GHz edition, which has an HDMI out and is not looking good so far. And I think that's a swing and a miss for the HDMI to DVI adapter. So 0 for 2 so far with our passive adapters. Here's test number 3. If I was going to pick a horse for this race, this would have been it. This is the mini DisplayPort to DVI active adapter. Let's see if she works. Wow, well, I gotta admit, kind of a surprising result, guys. They're not joking around when they say you need a dual link DVI connection and it needs to be native. Don't plan on using adapters because I've tried at least 3 different options here. All 3 did not work. So again, dual link DVI required for this monitor. And that wraps it up for this video, guys. Once again, this has been my review of the Yamakasi Leonidas 2560x1600, only available right now on eBay. So you gotta take a little bit of risk when you're ordering this one, but if you go the route that I did, I think you'll be very happy. Once again, superb monitor, fantastic panel, beautiful color reproduction. My only really complaint thus far about it has been the stand, which is slightly flimsy, but honestly, really not that big of a deal. And then of course, again, that backlight, which is really bright right now. The one thing I haven't done yet is do some calibration on it. Again, there's really no controls on the monitor itself, so you got to do that from within Windows. But I'm going to grab a calibration tool that we have at work and play around with it and see what kind of results I can get. But again, that's all for this video. If you guys enjoyed, please toss a like my way. I'd love if you would subscribe for more tech videos just like this one. I'm Paul, you're watching Paul's Hardware, and we'll see you all next time.